2010 was a good year for RPM. We flew to France to drive the Jaguar XJ. We flew to Germany to drive the Porsche Cayenne. We drove the Audi R8 Spider and the Renault Megane RS Sport. But one of the cars that impressed us most that year was a humble MPV. The Peugeot 3008 is the French car maker's take on the crossover. We were impressed on our initial test by the approach this car takes to all kinds of things related to driving, from the interior to the safety. For the next year, we get to sample this top-of-the-range 388 2-litre HDI Executive. Its turbo diesel motor puts out 110 kilowatts and 340 newton meters. Now, one of the best aspects of a long-term test is that we get to check out just how accurate manufacturers' fuel consumption claims are. For this car, Peugeot says it's 5.6 litres per 100 kilometers. Admittedly, simulating economy runs isn't our favorite pastime, but 20,000 kilometers will give us a real-world reflection of this car's efficiency, not to mention a bunch of other aspects that come with covering that kind of distance. On the inside, the 3008 offers a slightly different take on the family car interior. The sloping center console and the high center section are the most standout bits of the interior, and although they are good design elements, they do lack a bit for storage spaces, particularly in this class of car. But our new long-termer isn't short on spec. Things like cruise control, the electric park brake and the huge refrigerated center console are standard, but this version gets extras like dual-zone climate control, the panoramic roof and sat-nav. The French may do a lot of things well, but their electronics interfaces aren't the best. The media and Bluetooth system in our 3008 is taking a little getting used to. It's not too easy to describe the look of the 3008. It has sort of minivan proportions, but wrapped up in that typically different French approach to making things stand out. This car strikes an interesting balance between not being run-of-the-mill, but also not being all that interesting. I'm sure that over time we'll figure out a more eloquent way of describing it, but for now we're happy to admit that we like the look. The chrome extras and 17-inch wheels add a bit of classiness, although they also mean you'll have to tread rather carefully when you're off the tar. Don't be fooled though, crossover it may be, but this car is far happier off the dirt. For a car of its size, it is surprisingly agile and surprisingly planted. It's got quick, accurate steering and it doesn't wallow or lean through the corners, even though the suspension is set up to be more comfortable than sporty. Its off-road credentials extend right to that point where the tar meets the dirt. This isn't one of those cars fitted with a selective all-wheel drive system that will help with grip on rougher surfaces. It's a road-biased front-wheel drive people carrier that's good for long journeys as long as you stick to the highway. And we've already done a highway trip. For some reason, our director felt the need to drive from Pretoria to Bloemfontein for the night. We all love the 6-speed gearbox and the smooth diesel engine, but the more important factor here is what's the fuel consumption like? Well, the round-trip average for that trip was 8.5 litres per 100, but that's with an engine that's done just 3,000 kilometers, so it almost certainly will improve. Safety kit includes ABS, ESP and driver and front passenger airbags. But one of the most impressive bits is the head-up display, because it shows the gap to the car in front of you in seconds, telling you exactly how much time you'll have to react if something goes wrong. The Peugeot 3008 impressed us when we first drove it 2 years ago, but now it has a chance to prove itself. And as the designated people carrier in our long-term fleet, it will get a lot of use. And of course, we will bring you regular updates of life with the French crossover over the next 12 months. The turbo diesel provides smooth power, and our initial fuel consumption figures are good and are sure to improve. It offers decent space and spec, and a different take on the family car interior. The electronics interface could be better though.